What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Crypto Empire, where we dominate the crypto market. My name is Connor, and this is another Crypto Empire Sunday live stream. First of all, happy new all-time high day. Bitcoin did hit 125K today, which is absolutely huge. Altcoins doing quite well this weekend. The market's on fire. There's a lot of greed out there, a lot of euphoria. So in this live stream, we will be discussing whether or not we're just going to continue to blast off straight to 130K Bitcoin, 140K Bitcoin, or if we're due for a pullback here. We'll be discussing that and much more. So let's get right into it and start off like we always do with our crypto market overview. Guys, big shout out to everyone here in the live chat. Be sure to smash that like button on your way in here. Let's get some hype in the chat, everyone. Shout out to Matthew Black. We got FBS. We got Semi187 Orhan. We got Datboy KR. What's up, everyone? Smash up the like button. So yes, first of all, happy new all-time high day. Bitcoin hit 125K. We did see a bit of a pullback if we go take a look at the chart. Currently, Bitcoin is at 123,300. So yeah, we'll talk about this in a moment, right? Some people discussing the triple drive scenario, right? The triple tap, the 1, 2, 3. We'll discuss whether or not we've topped or we're going higher in a moment. Here's a quick hint. I think we will go higher, but we should get ready for some type of pullback. But first of all, let's just take a look at the market at large right now. A lot of green out there. Looking at the crypto bubbles top 100, right? Most coins are green on the day. Some are pulling back, right? The perp dex exchanges, MYX, Aster pulling back a bit, but most altcoins are up and to the right currently. However, Bitcoin is really the star of the show, right? Bitcoin is the star of the show. And with that, dominance today is actually red, all right? But Bitcoin dominance still has topped out, right? This thing still topped out up here at 65, 66%. However, looking at this weekly, we're seeing it's Bitcoin season right now, right? The last 3 weeks, Bitcoin dominance has been rising. It is still possible we do see this come into this 2-week supply area, which wouldn't make sense with my thesis currently with Bitcoin going higher. Let's discuss that in a moment. Looking at the rest of these coins, right? ETH hit 4,600 today. Currently, it's 4,540 bucks. XRP back to $3. Dogecoin still sitting at 25 cents. Solana doing really well at 230. I mean, look, it's a good time for a lot of these major altcoins. A lot of the mid caps aren't really moving too much, right? Sui at 360, Avalanche still at 30 bucks. They haven't really budged at all. All right, so I mean, look, Bitcoin's doing really well, ETH is doing really well, but a lot of these mid cap altcoins are just kind of sitting still, which is quite interesting. They will eventually move, but you know, as of right now, they're just still in these wide accumulations. So let's go take a look at BTC here. And Bitcoin on the daily time frame. Again, we just looked at this. We hit $125,850 earlier today. And looking at the hourly chart, we have seen a pullback already. All right, there was the classic telltale sign of, again, the triple drive on the daily, as well as the lower time frame divergence with the price action making the higher highs, but the trend actually weakening. So from here on out, I don't think we just continue to blast off straight to the next target, which is at 130K, 131,000. For anyone that's new here to the channel, the next target at 130 comes from a Fibonacci extension level, right? We pulled the fib here from the previous all-time high in January at 109K, down to the low at 74,000. And that gives us our Fibonacci extensions in our target zone labeled here on the chart. And the first extension is the negative 0.27 at 119K. And the second extension is the negative 61.8 at 131K. So that's the next target here. That's where I expect Bitcoin to be headed. And I do expect it to hit that level, okay? We've discussed this at length. I mean, it's been very drawn out here. It's been months since price has just been kind of chopping around from July in this target zone, pulling back. But here we are finally accelerating in the start of October. From here, though, I would likely expect some type of pullback and retest to like 120, which is again, that negative 0.27 Fibonacci extension, 119,500. I wouldn't be too surprised to see a pullback to around these levels. And if we're going to continue in a parabolic trend in a parabolic fashion, this level should hold as support. And I would expect price to then pump right up here to 130. So that's where we're at right now, right? We're in Q4 of 2025. This is the year following the Bitcoin halving. Historically speaking, this is the most bullish period of the crypto market cycle-wise. And yeah, here we are. Things are pumping. Bitcoin is ripping to the upside. There's a lot of disbelief in this rally. A lot of people don't think it's real. A lot of people feel like it's just another fake out, right? Even with the crypto fear and greed index being back in heavy greed territory right now at a 74, there's still a lot of people fading this rally. There's a lot of disbelief currently. So there's the fuel right there, that alone, the sentiment to see things actually, push higher, which is pretty interesting to me. Guys, be sure to smash up the like button. We're just getting started right now in this Sunday live stream. We haven't even gotten into altcoins. So there's going to be a lot to discuss still. Smash up the like button. And if you are new here to Crypto Empire, hit that subscribe button. Stick around, stay a while. And yeah, turn on all bell notifications too, so that you're notified whenever we do release a new video. But that's Bitcoin currently, right? We know the target higher. We know the level to look for the pullback. There is a one-day hidden order block here at around 117K. I mean, it is possible we wick into that, but overall, I really don't want to see any daily candle closes below 120 in order for this thing to continue its parabolic trend up higher and hit that next target at $130,000 on Bitcoin. Let's go ahead and move on. Look at Ethereum. So ETH right now, again, it's in a logical level to look for some type of pullback, right? Why is that? Well, we had that head and shoulders pattern, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We had that play out, right? We broke down here to $3,800. Remember, we didn't quite hit the 3-day level on the US dollar pair, but on the ETH Euro pair, again, the market makers like to do this. On the ETH Euro pair, the 3-day level hit. So this is definitely some alpha, guys. If you're using these order block levels, these breaker blocks, you have to make, on the major charts, like Ethereum and Bitcoin, use off-pair currencies, right? Use ETH versus the Euro. And oftentimes, it will hit on the Euro, but it won't hit on the dollar, right? It's just a little tricky thing that the market makers are doing right now to simply throw people off. So, again, it didn't hit on the US dollar pair. It just front ran it, but it did come into the 1 week demand zone. Okay, so this was the major indication that we should have expected, a nice bounce here, which we have gotten exactly on Ethereum. Now with that, what's happening on this chart? Just taking it at face value. Well, we have revisited the origin of the breakdown. Right. We revisited the origin of the breakdown, and also we're retesting the breakdown of this trend line. And as you can see, price has not closed above the trend line or the supply zone, the origin of the breakdown, which is something to note, right? Because if this thing was truly really strong and just going to continue to blast off higher and make a new all-time high right now, it probably would be closing these daily candles above the trend line and above the supply zone, but it's not doing that right now. And with Bitcoin also putting in a really parabolic move on a Sunday, I just do think it's possible that we could pull back. So with that, where should we be looking for ETH? Well, there's a fresh daily demand zone coming in. We'll go ahead and mark that on the chart right now. All right, there's a brand new fresh daily demand zone coming in right at $4,210, $4,210. And one thing to note as well, if we pull a fib, that would be right at the 50% fib in the golden pocket as well, in that 1 day level of demand, again at like $4,210. So that's somewhere to note, right? If ETH is going to continue this rally, it won't go straight up. This is a level to look for some type of pullback before it eventually does snap up and make a new all-time high well above $5,000. When it happens, it's going to happen pretty quick. And it's likely going to be soon. Now, let's just put some extensions on this ETH chart with this new fractal we have, which can give us some next targets. So the negative 61.8 is at $5,660. That is, in my opinion, where to look for ETH after it does complete this. Likely is going to complete this retracement into like 4,200, and then we should be looking for like 5,600, 5,660. The negative 61.8 Fibonacci extension level. So let's just go ahead and put a line there so we don't forget. That is our next target for Ethereum, 5660, after we complete a pullback to 4,200. All right, guys. Now, just real quick, let's go through these total market cap charts. So the total, we have a one-day hidden order block here at 4.04 trillion. So again, or actually not again, I went over this in the Mastermind, but we'll go over it here for the first time. Long story short, the total market cap chart is swing failure pattern. It's SFPing the all-time high. It's very exciting that we're pushing up, but these daily candles must close above this all-time high at 4.17 trillion. And right now, these daily candles, as you can see right here on the screen, they're just not closing above the all-time high. So if we're actually going to continue up here and continue being parabolic, the daily needs to close above the all-time high, and more importantly, later on today, we'll have the weekly candle close. We need the weekly candle to close above the all-time high. I do not want to see a weekly SFP. That is a sign to basically be a bit cautious, right? If we weekly SFP. If we do actually weekly SFP, what I would look for, very simple. Let me just get rid of this other stuff that we don't need anymore. If we do weekly SFP, I would say we're probably going to pull back into this 1 week demand. All right, at 3.96 trillion. But we'll see how the weekly candle closes. As of right now, on the daily, on the weekly, on the 3-day, whatever time frame you're looking at, they're all bearish SFPs. So we'll see if that does change. We'll see if we'll see if the total crypto market cap closes above the all-time high at 4.17 trillion. But as of right now, taking the chart at face value, it's just not really doing that. Moving on now, the total 2, same thing. It's really unable to close above the 2021 all-time high. We have that labeled at 1.71 trillion. Look at these daily candles, guys. They are not closing above the all-time high, okay? So another reason to say don't ape into anything here, don't have like FOMO right now. It's very easy to get carried away. The crypto fear and greed index is in greed. Everyone's like, oh my God, we're going parabolic to the moon right now, but it's really not the time to actually FOMO on things. This is the tweezer top as well. So, hey, we'll see what happens. We'll see if the daily and the weekly candles can close above the 2021 all-time high on the total 2. But as of right now, they're all bearish SFPs. I don't think that means we're topped here. I just think it means that, we can likely pull into, here we go on the total 2, same thing on the total, a big 1 week demand zone, right? Call it a demand zone, call it an order block, whatever. I call it a demand zone, but if we keep on SFPing, we should look for a move into this before an actual breakout. So don't FOMO is the main message I want to lay out right now. And the last one is the total 3. Same exact thing, right? This is the all-time high. All-time high in the total 3. Here's the weekly bearish SFP. Same demand zone that just formed on all the other majors. All right, same story. So with these bearish SFPs, just wait for a better opportunity to come, and then you can buy the stuff you want to buy, and then what we're likely going to break out, basically, is how I'm seeing it. And others as well, really just not really able to close above the previous week high. Real quick, stablecoin dominance USDT. Another thing to look out for here. Remember, on the 2 week time frame, we had this bear flag shaping up. We have a bear flag on the 2 week. And a bear flag is supposed to break down, but that doesn't mean it can't just keep chopping around in here until it actually does break down. All right, so on the daily, what's happening? Well, it's unable to close below the trend line support here on the daily. Another indication that it's probably going to come up a bit, maybe into this daily hidden order block behind two fair value gaps at 4.4%, and then actually break down. So let's not keep dragging this on. Let's not beat a dead horse anymore. But the point I'm making is you'll probably get some type of pullback from here. All right? So just hold your horses if you're thinking about just throwing tons of cash into the market right now at this instant. If you're thinking about opening up a ton of trades, you're probably acting completely off of emotions, because I'm going over the chart right here in real time, and there's a lot of signs to basically point that the market is probably going to pull back a bit at the start of this week at least. And yeah, just hold your horses if you're feeling FOMO. I think you'll get a better opportunity to buy things in the short-term future. And yeah, we'll see on Bitcoin again. I mean, we want Bitcoin to hold as strong as possible. I think at the minimum, and hopefully that's all we'll see, is a pullback to like 120, 119, which again is that negative 0.27 Fibonacci extension, which was our first major target that has been hit. And then we're looking for continuation up to 130. All right, guys, so that is our majors. That's what's going on right now. Shout out to Nick Beatty. He says lightweight baby. Awesome to see the name in here. Shout out to LVL Lady, B Marquis. We got Raphael Rachon. What's up, Raphael? How are you, man? Orhan. What's up, Orhan? Who else? DD, Alpha Omega. What's up, everyone? Don Ray Byrne. What's up, Don Ray? We got Michael DJ I Manor. Great to see you, Michael. Awesome to see all you guys. Guys, smash that like button. Let's get some hype in the chat right now. We got a super chat from Sunny CO4. My man Sunny with the 199 super chat. Appreciate you, sir. If you have a question, let me know. Anyways, let's get into our news for the day right now. And looking at the news, so just a rumor, not confirmed. I mean, this account puts out a bunch of clickbait stuff. This guy. So don't take it at face value. But rumor has it is that Tom Lee of BitMine is going to go on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast. 10 million plus listeners. And of course, Tom Lee is buying up Ethereum by the boatload, right? Tom Lee and BitMine are now holding $11.9 billion worth of Ethereum. What is that? Percentage of the supply wise. I mean, their goal is to hold 5% of the supply, I believe, of Ethereum. And they're well on their way there. So basically $12 billion of ETH. Again, guys, Ethereum is going to be like a large part of the entire world control mechanism going into like 2030. So Ethereum is going to be trading for like 20,000 to 30,000 US dollars in the next 5 years, I would say. All right. We'll come back to that statement, and I think I will be proven correct. It's not going to go straight up. However, it's very, very clear at this point that the powers that be have a very large plan for Ethereum. So who is backing Tom Lee and BitMine? Peter Thiel. Go to ChatGPT and tell it to put an anagram for Peter Thiel. It's pretty scary what comes up. I won't discuss it here. Go do that on your own time. But this came in 2 days ago, actually, on October 3rd, from Vitalik Buterin himself, founder of Ethereum, talking about Peter Thiel. Again, Peter Thiel is backing BitMine, and BitMine is buying up huge amounts of Ethereum. Anyways, Vitalik says that Peter Thiel is, to put it mildly, not a cypherpunk. What does he mean by this? He's basically saying that Peter Thiel does not share the ethos of crypto, of like decentralized, fair, sound money. He wants total control. Ethereum is going to be the digital control structure. It's very clear. Ethereum is going to trade much higher in price, but it's kind of a bleak future. All right, so I mean, we're not going to be too negative right now in this live stream. We'll keep it positive. Bitcoin's making a new all-time high. Yay, woohoo. Just understand what's coming. All right, prepare now so you're not taken off guard when it does get here. Right, normies will be wrecked. Don't be a normie. Don't be wrecked into the future. Prepare now for what is coming, because it's going to look very different than modern day times. Let's just put it like that. And Ethereum currently at $4,500. I do think we'll still end the year at $6,000 to $8,000 on Ethereum. So yeah, we're well on track there. And again, the next target is going to be 5,600. Anyways, let's see if we have some questions here. So Sonny C04 with the 199 super chat, he says, can you look at the Avantis chart? We sure can. We sure can look at Avantis. So Avantis has been struggling ever since it went on this parabolic run up here to $2.66. Right, it broke trend over here on the 21st of September, and it's just been in a downtrend. Now, it's very clear that this downtrend has shifted now to a sideways consolidation. So that's the first thing to note. Right, price is no longer making lower highs and lower lows. The trend shifted from down to sideways. All right, so that's positive. Another positive thing that I see is this downwards channel that was controlling price has technically broken out to the upside. Yes, it's just a consolidation, but it's still, right, after hitting the support over here on September 29th, we had price just essentially go sideways. And technically, this is a bullish break from the channel. Again, that's the shift from the downtrend to sideways. Now we have this 12-hour demand zone, and this is currently what is holding up price here at $1.10. The lows are $1.05. So yeah, this 12-hour order block, 12-hour demand zone is holding up. If we're talking best buy opportunity, things like that, well, I mean, we definitely want to see these lows hold at $1.05. We don't want to see price close a 12-hour candle below, because that would likely indicate that this thing is going to hit the next 12-hour demand zone, which is going to come in just below $1. Now, look, if you want to put limit orders down here, that would make a lot of sense. If you want to be patient, like a fisherman, and place out your bait, I would put limit orders at like 98 to 94 cents. If you want to take a more risky approach, your invalidation is a 12-hour candle close below the current lows at 105, and you essentially want to look for this thing to at least come back to the top of the range, which is like what, 15% or something? Yeah, 13%. But yeah, as of right now, it's just in this sideways consolidation. It's really a pretty boring chart. Avantis. But it's in the logical area to find support. So we want to see this level continue to hold. The best buying opportunity, though, in my mind, would come below $1. Right? It would flush out basically if Bitcoin pulls back to 120, if ETH pulls back to like 4,200. Look for Avantis to go below $1. That's your buy, and then you look forward to essentially start a new uptrend and a new rally. But the thing is, the perp dex rally really, or the perp dex narrative, it really fizzled out quite hard. Right, last week with Aster, the perp dexes, they were all the rave. Everyone talking about, oh my god, perpetual decentralized exchanges. These are the best tokens ever. Like I was discussing last week, it was a manufactured narrative. It wasn't like true organic demand. It was a fake manufactured narrative, starting with Aster. So now we're seeing that hype fade away, and with that hype fading away, the main coin Aster doing well, but the secondary ones like Avantis, they're fading. They're fading away basically. I think they're not done, but just look for the better buying opportunities to come below $1 basically. Real quick, let's take a look at Aster. So what did it hit? 170. Yeah, not too surprised. I mean, really crazy run up this weekend to $2.27. Interesting chart right now. Hit the golden pocket. Really, I mean, what do I have to say about Aster? Well, it didn't close above the swing high. Right, it failed to close above the swing high, pulling back now. Man, I wouldn't be shocked if it ran the lows. I wouldn't be shocked if it ran the lows at 150 now, before some type of move back up to the all-time high. Everyone was FOMOing into this thing at like $2 earlier. Or yesterday, right? On Saturday, Aster hit 227. Everyone FOMOing in, oh my God, it's going to go make a new all-time high. What happened? Well, basically a pin bar, reverse pin bar top, bearish SFP. All the longs from yesterday are trapped. What would get them all to just get liquidated? Basically, it would be a run of the lows. A run of the lows at 150 and then up. So I would be patient on Aster right now and look for, again, a run of the lows at 150. Anyways, shout out to Silvadala. Shout out to Drayman. What is going on, lads? Smash up the like button. Drayman says it looks like I got some sun. Yes, sir. I got some color. Definitely got some color. It's a good thing. The crypto nerds like to say touching grass, but I was in the ocean. Whatever. Anyways, let's see if we got some altcoin requests. We have Ondo. Yeah, let's look at Ondo. So I made a video earlier in the week and I covered Ondo when it was sitting down here at support at like 84 cents, 85 cents, something like that. It was down here in the support. And my idea was that if it loses this support, it's cooked. It's completely done. It's going to go back to the lows at like 60. So the idea was to see a bounce from support, right? That was a bullish video. We went over the bull case, and price was trading over here. We got the move from support. I'm not too shocked, right? What was this move? Like a 10% move. Still pretty boring. I mean, 10%. Like Bitcoin's giving you bigger gains right now. But anyways, it's good to see that support continuing to hold up. Now, looks like a fresh breaker formed earlier. All right, we had this fresh level form. And price is not closing below it, so that's a good sign. That is definitely a good sign. Let me see this 2-day. We can get rid of this 3-day demand because it's not really relevant currently. So there's a 5-day demand that's interesting to me. Yeah, so we're in a 5-day demand zone inside of this 1-day HOB. It's holding up right now. If the market is going to pull back, I mean, I like this level here. And we want to pull the golden pocket too. Let's pull the golden pocket. Okay, yeah, I like it. So 90 cents to 89 cents. It's tough though, but yeah, I mean, basically you want to see this thing just continue to get tight, continue to tighten up, and eventually break out of this kind of consolidation that it's in. You can see the supports holding down here at like 85 cents. You can see the descending trend line resistance. You can see it's getting very tight at the apex of this consolidation pattern. So you just want to see it get super tight and break out to the upside. All right, a lot of pressure is building up. So we want to see that pressure continue to build up. We do not want to see it break and close daily candles underneath the lows over here at 85, 84. All right, so we just want to see it get super tight and then break out. That's what I'm seeing on Ondo, but that level at like 89, 90 cents is where I would be looking if I was to to trade it, to buy it from current price. If you missed it earlier in this week, below like or around 85, 86 cents. That's Ondo. Orhan is from in Thailand right now. That's interesting. Let's see. FBS says, have I seen Raoul Pal? His thesis. I don't listen to Raoul Pal. He's just a talking head. He's a good talker, but like he's got no real substance to what he says. But I can definitely see an altcoin season in Q1, Q2 of 2026 topping then. Again, the thesis is this pump we're having, right? I don't think it's going to go into December, into New Year's. I think this pump that we're having is likely going to fizzle out at some point, again, like before the end of this year. And then Chinese New Year, late January, early February is when we'll see the actual continuation up higher. But yeah, I think we're going to run some high targets, right? I think we'll see like 5 to 6K. Again, I should say 6 to 8K ETH before the end of this year. But that doesn't mean we can't have a nice pullback into Chinese New Year next year and then a continuation run up higher. So 8-bit tendies is asking for Pangu. Again, guys, this is Sunday. This is our community live stream day. So we'll take a look at all the altcoins you guys are interested in, as long as it's not some random shill. If you guys want me to look at some random shill like garbage meme coin, I probably won't look at it. Unless you give me a super chat that's not a $1 or $2. Right? You have to make it worth my time and worth everyone's time here watching the live stream if you're going to ask for some random meme coin shill. But if it's a legitimate altcoin, even though they're all kind of garbage, but if it's a regular altcoin, we'll take a look at it. So here's Pangu. And it's doing well on Sunday today. It's come right back into the yearly open. And let's see what's going on here with Pangu. So 12-hour has broken trend. Looks pretty good there. Fresh 12-hour demand. Fib. 3 cents. Looks like a decent spot. That's the daily open today. That would mean a total retrace of this pump. Right? Total retrace, which isn't that uncommon. And that level is interesting too, to me. Yeah, so I mean, let's just keep it very simple, guys. Let's not overcomplicate this. So I just laid out a level in the 12-hour, and on the daily, there's this fresh daily demand that has formed from Saturday's candle. All right, so if we're gonna keep this simple, I'd say if this is gonna continue up higher, it will pull back into this daily demand or daily order block and then continue up. One solid way to get a good entry in these demand zones is if you just take the fib and you just put on the 50% measurement. This is called the equilibrium, 50%. And that's right at 0.031. Like if you're going to put a limit order in this demand zone, put it at the equilibrium. All right. Not financial advice, obviously, but look for a move into that. And then if it's going to continue up, look for that continuation up higher. But that's what I see on Pangu. We have Don Ray Burn 860. He says, good morning from Akron, Ohio. Miggles is ready. What's your opinion? So Mr. Miggles on base. First of all, Apu just came out with some big news. They got a new market maker on board. I'm still bullish on Apu, guys. I mean, this thing went back down like below my entry. My average entry is around like a 40 million market cap. It was around that price, and it did go up pretty big today, up like 26% right now, but it exploded. A lot of people sold into the pump. But anyways, I still see Apu running higher targets of like a 10x from here. Let's go ticker Bitcoin as well, starting to come back to life. I mean, I'm bag holding this shit. But anyways, let's go look at Mr. Miggles. So if we go look at the market cap chart that we have marked up already, so it's in a must-hold area. This is the weekly time frame chart, guys, on Mr. Miggles on base. And your range low down here is at 20 million market cap. Now, let me pull this up real quick. Let me pull this up. So, if you go look at my channel, this video I did around 1 month ago, talking about like top 10 base coins. The idea I shared in that video was we're going to dip in September. And then after this September dip, we're probably going to go up. And that happened, right? We did dip into September. You know, Mr. Miggles hit the range low again in September. So it is logical to say that, you know, this is, I'm not going to call exact bottom right now, but I'll say it's got to be very close to the bottom here on Mr. Miggles. I do agree with you, Don Rayburn 860, right? You said that Miggles is ready. I'd say it's ready, or it's just about ready. Maybe it wants to hang around a bit more down here. Maybe go slightly lower. I'm not sure. But in general, this is probably an area that will result in gains if you're a buyer of Mr. Miggles down here, like 20 million, 21 million, 22 million, where it's at right now. Some of these other base coins, I mean, Treble Swap had a very big week, guys, right? Very big week. All the Jeets, for months, this thing was just down here like 10 to 15 cents. A lot of bottom sellers. And, you know, it did go up 350% this week. It's still currently up 225%. So pour one out for all the Jeets that sold the bottom. Let's pour one out. RIP. Get wrecked, Jeets. But yeah, I mean, we love to see it. And this was just conviction coming through here on Treble Swap. And I still think it's very undervalued at a $3.9 million market cap. Extremely undervalued. Let's go look at some of these other ones. Keyboard Cat, another, you know, top base meme coin that I think has a bright future. I don't know for sure, but I think that Keyboard Cat is going to do really well. Don't quote me on that. It's not financial advice, but you know, I think it's probably going to move quite hard, and it's currently at a $31.3 million market cap. Now, similar to Miggles, you know, that September sell-off thesis played out. Right over here in the beginning of September, it was a 50 million market cap, and here it is at 31 million. So, also coming back into demand, coming into like the buy level down here. So all these base coins, remember, Base has the airdrop now. Base has the base coin coming soon, which is it's gonna be a huge liquidity injection, a capital injection into these base projects, and they're all in very attractive levels right now to bid. So, I mean, like, don't borrow my conviction, don't borrow my belief, right? Develop your own conviction. But if you also think that base coins will do well, like some of the ones I'm talking about here in this live stream, well, it's pretty obvious that all of them are in pretty attractive levels to be a buyer, especially compared to 1 month ago, right? If you look at where this coin was in August or early September, it's down 45%, right? So you're getting a 45% discount. And I'm not trying to sell this to you at all. I have nothing to do with any of these coins, right? Miggles, KeyCat, whatever. I just think that they're at pretty attractive buy levels currently. What do you guys think? Let me know here in the live chat. Right, we have 100 people watching. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Let me know right now in the chat. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Also, guys, if you are new here to Crypto Empire, hit that subscribe button. And also, turn on all the notifications so you don't miss any future videos. But more importantly, just hit that subscribe button. Let's go. But yeah, that's a few meme coins. And the last one would be Ski Mask Dog. But, you know, it's the same thing. Same exact story. Big pullback in September. It's down like 50% from where it was 1 month ago. It's in the buy zone. I mean, either they bounce from here or they're cooked. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how we go. Now, here's some other news coming out from today. Trump says that the USA will, incorporate crypto, and it's going to fix the financial system. So, I mean, this is all pretty obvious stuff if you've been paying attention to what is going on. Anyways, moving on now. So here is a tweet that is pretty interesting from Watcher Guru. And Watcher Guru is saying that Satoshi Nakamoto now holds $134 billion worth of Bitcoin. So he's holding 1 million Bitcoin, almost 1.1 million Bitcoin. Is it really a person? Is Satoshi really a person, guys? I've talked about this before. No, in my opinion, Satoshi CZ said it after I brought it up here on the channel, coincidentally enough. But shout out to SRB, Stephen Ronald Bell, for delivering the thesis first about Satoshi actually being AI, artificial intelligence. I agree with that. I think Satoshi is artificial intelligence. And because you guys have to understand, if a human being was holding 1.096 million Bitcoin, they would have their greed take over. They would sell some. They would go buy things. They would do all this type of stuff. The only way for an entity to continue to hold 1.1 million Bitcoin worth $134 million 17 years after it was created would for it to be a non-human entity, like an artificial intelligence. So, yeah. You won't hear that on all the mainstream crypto channels yet. They'll all be saying it in the future. But yes, Satoshi is not a person. Satoshi is artificial intelligence, 100% in my eyes. And it's going to get pretty spooky into the future, guys. It's going to get pretty spooky into the future. Laminar says, what is an SFP? It's a good question. It's a swing failure pattern. Right? You can simply Google SFP. Right? Google is a great option. Or we're talking a lot about artificial intelligence this live stream. You can also use something like ChatGPT or Grok. They're free to use, and you can just say, what is an SFP in trading? And it will give you an answer. But I'm a nice guy, right? So I'll go over it here in the live stream. An SFP is a swing failure pattern. It's essentially when a wick does not close above a previous swing high or swing low, indicating a failure to actually break out, confirm a breakout or breakdown. But yeah, I would recommend that you use some of the available search engine or artificial intelligence tools for basic questions such as what is an SFP, but it is a swing failure pattern. Yeah, Orhan says that Zcash and Orderly have been massive gainers out of nowhere. So Zcash pumped really hard. Now this is a privacy coin, but if you look at it, only like 20% of the transactions on the Zcash network are actually private. So it's really just a corporate pump. But hey, it's still a very big pump that you got to respect the pump, right? Massive move. Would I FOMO into Zcash now? No, absolutely not. I would not FOMO into Zcash now. Unless you're smoking crack. I hope you're not smoking crack. Don't FOMO into Zcash. Yeah, one day HOB at like 105. So it's definitely due for some type of retracement in my opinion. I wouldn't FOMO into Zcash now. If you missed it, let it go and look for a different pump. But you have to understand that smart money was buying this thing down here, and they are now selling up here. So if you buy it up here, you're a sucker. So don't be a sucker. And Orderly, here's Orderly. So what's the market cap of Orderly? Smash up the like button, guys. Wait, hold up. We got a super chat right now from Kidsy4540. Shout out to my man Kidsy with the super chat. He says, great alpha as always. Can you kindly look at BNB memes spooky? BNB memes worth a look. Are they worth a look? So we'll go look at spooky, but Orderly is 132 million. We'll look at that again after we're done looking at spooky. This is a super chat request from Kidsy4540. So look, man, this is a 360k market cap BNB meme coin. It's a few hours old, so we can't really do TA on a coin like this. I mean, look, it's down. What is it down from the all-time high? It's down 75%. It did go down 80%. So that's good. All right. We looked as a general rule of thumb with these meme coins, when they do their first pump, you always want to look for like the 90% pullback, 80 to 90%. And it did that. Okay. So if this thing is a total rug pull, obviously it's going to go to zero. But if it's going to pump again, now is actually not a bad time to buy it if you want to, of course. I'm not telling anyone to buy this random meme coin that I've never heard of in my life before. Be responsible out there. Not financial advice, but my man Kidsy4540, if you do want to buy this coin, it doesn't look like the worst time to buy it after the 80% pullback from that first initial run up. But I have no idea what this coin is, who's behind it, any of that stuff. The P&Ls are cooked. 723k P&L, 165k P&L, 38 grand P&L, 25 grand P&L, 20k. It looks like a farm. It looks like a scam. So I definitely would be extremely careful because there's insiders holding a large amount of this thing's supply more likely than not. I don't understand how somebody sold $723,000 worth of this coin and they didn't buy any. That doesn't make any sense to me. I would be very careful. So that's just a first glance, first look at this spooky coin, and I've never heard of it in my life. We have another super chat from LL Londano. My man, thank you for that $4.99 super chat. He says, great info as always, boss man. What are you thinking about Avantis and Toshi? Great question, man. Thank you for the super chat. So we'll go look at Avantis again. We already did review it earlier, but of course we will review it again, especially for, a valued subscriber giving a super chat. We can't ignore that. So let's go look at Avantis again. So my man L. Londano, what's going on here with Avantis is it transitioned from this downtrend to now a sideways trend, right? It went from going down to going sideways. So that's a good thing, right? It's no longer just in this bleeding out downtrend. Now this 12-hour demand zone is doing well in its supporting price, and the bottom of this demand zone is at 105, or $1.05, I should say. All right, so that held. Price is now just in this range. So this is going to continue to be a range until proven otherwise. Now, if we're going to see a dip, because again, I'm not sure when you tuned into this live stream, but if we're going to see a dip on Bitcoin back to like 120, it's at 123 now. If we're going to see Ethereum do a dip to like 4,200, maybe that means that altcoins will also pull back. So if altcoins also pull back, we want to look for potential levels of where they will go. So the first level would be the lows at like $1.05 for Avantis. If for whatever reason the lows get lost, there is another 12-hour demand zone coming in the fresh zone. It starts at 99 cents down to 94 cents. Okay, so if we lose 105, I would look below $1. And then you really would like to see, if it loses this support, just be a manipulation, a PO3 basically, where a PO3 is basically you have this sideways channel sideways consolidation, a manipulation move down, then you reclaim, and then you actually break out. So there's a potential PO3 forming here on Avantis. If that happens, look for a move below $1 to be a buyer before a big run up. That's what I see on Avantis. And then Toshi as well. Let's go look at Toshi. Toshi, however you want to pronounce it, you know what I'm talking about. So Toshi unable to close above this swing high. But I mean, this is like a bull pennant. We're on the 12-hour here. All right, so we got a nice wedge forming, a very nice wedge forming on Toshi. We have the flat top resistance, and we have the accumulation happen, the reaccumulation with these higher lows supported by this trend line. So another basic pattern where it's just getting very close here. It's crunching quite hard. It's at the apex of this pattern. If this is going to play out bullish, it's just going to snap up and break out higher. If it fails, these things can fail 100%. They're not guaranteed to break out higher. If it was to fail, it would stop out a lot of FOMO traders that are buying right now, and it would likely come down to the GP. Or the golden pocket, which also, let me see something. Okay, that's a 6-hour demand zone at the golden pocket. What about the 8-hour? Nah, the 6-hour has it though. So I'll highlight the 6-hour demand. Just taking the body here. But this is right at the golden pocket. All right. So this comes into play right at 0.00759. So if this pattern fails, I would look there. I would look here. But in general, right now, taking this thing at face value, it looks like just a bullish wedge that wants to break out higher. But you can have a tight stop underneath the trend line. And if you're wrong, you get stopped out quickly. You don't want to risk a lot on an idea like this if you want to actively trade this chart. Shout out to my guy Laminar with a $20 super chat. My man. He says, "Thank you, Mr. Nice Guy." Hey, no problem, brother. Thank you for that super chat. That is much appreciated. I'm happy to answer the questions like what is an SFP, brother. But I really do appreciate that. Thanks. Thank you. If you have a question, let me know. Shout out to Owl of Minerva. No problem, brother. No problem. A lot of requests over here, guys. We got a lot of altcoins. Okay, good says leverage trading is gambling. Hodling Bitcoin is an investment and a sure thing. I mean, look, I can't say I disagree with you, dude. If you don't have an edge in trading, if you don't have a repeatable system, if you don't have your emotions in check, leverage trading is 100% gambling. I agree with you 100%. That's why you need to be clear, concise, and precise. You need to have a system that you repeat. An edge in the market. Otherwise, yes, you are just straight up gambling. And you'll probably lose. Sui. Let's go look at Sui, guys. We haven't looked at Sui this stream. So Sui just loves to play with people's emotions. Right? Every time this thing comes up to $4, everyone's like, oh my God, it's going to break out. We put this red, guys, we have this red box, this one here. We put this red box on the chart months ago. And this is the resistance box that Sui has to break out in order to go higher, right? And every time it comes into this red box, we get all excited, like, oh my God, this thing's finally going to break out, only for it to get slammed back down to support. every single time. And here it is now back at like $3.60, right in like the middle of the range, at resistance as well, right? This is the origin of the recent breakdown from the end of September. That's a pretty worrying look, not gonna lie, right? This is a pretty obvious like triple drive here on SUI with the bearish divergence. So again, we're in a bull market, right? I'd say we're in a buy program, right? We had a mini sell program at the end of September, but now it looks like we're in a buy program again. So if we're actually in an uptrend in a bull market in a buy program, when we see this pattern happen where we have the triple drive, where we have the bearish divergence, right? Look at the RSI down here at the bottom of the screen. When this happens and we're in an actual uptrend, all that happens is price pulls back to base support. It pulls back to base support, and in this case, in SUI's case right now, that is at $3.50. All right, so again, right? Are we being trolled by the market makers? It seems like we're in an actual buy program right now, but hey, if this thing is going to go higher from here, I would still look for it to pull back to base support at 350 and then go and actually break out back up to our red box coming in at $4. So the idea for SUI is still to see like, you know, like $5, $6 before the end of 2025. There is a case where it will go like significantly higher next year when we really top out. Again, playing into that Chinese New Year thesis. But for now, that's what's happening on SUI. I mean, don't FOMO right now. Maybe we pull back to base support at 350. If it does pull back deeper, I would say look for your trend line again. And the trend line's at like 325, but yeah, don't FOMO right now, basically. So that's SUI. Guys, smash that like button. Smash it up. Satoshi is a time traveler named Tim Taylor. If you know, you know. I mean, it's definitely from the future. I agree with that. We're getting too deep though for the normies. They simply don't. They just don't understand. Most guys don't understand. No worries, El Landano. Let's go look at Linea for Dre. Take a look at that real quick. All right, so Linea, new coin, fresh coin. They airdropped at the beginning of September. And I mean, it had a very positive start. It's not really doing your traditional airdrop sell-off. I think it will, but given where we're at right now, I would have a bullish bias on Linea. I would expect it to go and do a big kind of move and then probably crater at some point. But that means it's probably going to move up significantly first. Now, let's examine what's going on here. The first thing I see is this, right? These higher lows. We got higher lows forming here with the trend line. So if you were to be a buyer, I would say you should probably wait for the trend line. It's like 2.6 cents. That would also be right at the monthly open on Linea. And the idea is that this support continues to hold. I mean, because really this is, right, if we put a horizontal line across our screen here, we have a pretty large ascending This would be a ascending pennant, right? We have this kind of structure forming here, and eventually we'd like to see this break out. So that means right now I would say look for a move to this lower trend line on Linea, again coming in at like 2.6 cents. And yeah, I mean, you have the 88.6 right there at 2.6 as well. So that's what I see on Linea, Dre. That's what I see. We'll see if we get that deep of a pullback. But I like that idea of this just being a pretty large ascending pennant that is eventually going to break out, but it might take a while to consolidate before it actually does. I hope that helps. Let's see. La Clé du Success. He says, thank you, Connor, for the analysis. What do you think about Venice AI with the privacy thesis playing out? I haven't looked at Venice in a long time, guys. What's going on with Venice AI? By the way, guys, smash up the like button. Smash up the like button, everyone. Let's go. Let's get some hype in here. Venice. Look at the Bybit chart. So on the daily, it is at the April lows. So yeah, I mean, look, either it's just completely irrelevant now and cooked, or this is the bottom. That's what I have to say about this. I mean, this talk about a PO3, guys. Like, so you have all of this. Okay, now you have this. You have this manipulation. Right, and then you basically want to see the expansion next. I haven't looked at this chart in months, literally, but first glance, this is what I see. I see this huge consolidation. I see a breakdown into the lows of the chart, and I mean, if it's gonna rip, it's gonna rip from here. So that actually looks pretty enticing. But hey, I just looked at this chart for the first time in months, so that's that. That is that, folks. That is that. But guys, smash up the like button. Plasma is super mega cooked, pumped out of nowhere. Let me see what's going on with this. XPL. All right. So same thing. I think we were looking at Avantis. It's the same thing, where the trend has obviously shifted from a downtrend to a sideways trend now. Okay, so that's why we have this downwards channel on the chart. It just tells us very clearly when the downtrend has ended. And what happened here on XPL was, we basically came to the bottom of the channel over here at like 85 cents, and then it just started going sideways, and it broke out. So we were talking about the pivot not too long ago, the pivot during that big blood moon. I think that was at the start of September or something. But remember how we were just consolidating into the pivot, and in that case, that consolidation was actually bullish, which led to, a breakout. Same thing here. This consolidation, it's a bullish consolidation in the sense that the downtrend ended, and now it's just going sideways. Okay, and it broke the downwards channel trend. So the thing with Plasma is this thing was so hyped up. Everyone on crypto Twitter, I made a video on it, right? Everyone was making videos about it. So hyped up. What happened? The market makers washed everyone out. The market makers trapped all the buyers from up here that thought that this support level was going to hold. Remember, the invalidation for my thesis on XPL was that the low at 111 had to hold. And if it lost 111, you need to just get out. So when it lost 111, my idea became invalidated. All right? That's why it's so important to have an invalidation in place. But what happened here is it washed out everyone. Now you can basically get a 50% plus discount, 46% discount from the highs. So, if it does go back up to the highs, it's like a 100% move. And everyone who bought it up here and didn't get out when the invalidation happened, they're just going to be at break even. So it makes sense to see some type of move up from here, right? It makes sense to see these lows hold. If it does lose this consolidation, then it's really, really cooked. But that's what's happening right now on Plasma XPL. Remember, this thing was going up when the market was going down. Then it started going down when the market's going up. It's a new coin. It's run by market makers. It's heavily manipulated. So it's not really going to follow like Bitcoin and things like that. It's going to move on its own. It's going to have its own moves. So, maybe it pumps when Bitcoin pulls back this week. I wouldn't be too surprised to see something like that. Would I chase this pump currently? Well, the entry earlier was in like the mid 80s. It was at like 85 cents, 86 cents. Here at 91, your risk reward isn't really great. So I wouldn't chase after this green. If you wanted to get in, wait for it maybe to pull back more, but I don't know if it will do that before just kind of more continuation up. So don't FOMO right now, but it would make sense to see some type of relief from here after it just washed out everyone. Let's go look at Bitcoin again. Let's keep tabs on what's happening with it. Again, guys, I think we pull back to like 120, 119 from here. A lot of people are FOMOing. So let's see, talking about XPL. In the last hour alone, 318 grand was liquidated, mostly on the short side. So a lot of shorts are getting liquidated on XPL. A lot of 439K of longs were just liquidated from XRP in the last hour. Let's go look at that real quick. There's a lot of over-leveraged monkeys in this market right now. How much was that? 440 grand. Liquidated on XRP after a pullback of 2.6%. So basically some baboon out there opened up a huge leverage position after the pump into resistance, and now they just got wiped out for 440K. That's why you just don't FOMO, guys. Don't end up on the leverage wall of shame over here. But yeah, the shorts got wiped out today on Bitcoin really hard, as well as ETH. 177 millions of shorts liquidated on Bitcoin, 62 million of shorts liquidated on, or actually 37 million liquidated on ETH, 25 million on the long side. Probably similar to XRP, where people buy the top and then they get liquidated on a 1% move down. Like, it's pretty nuts what happens in this market, guys. It's really pretty nuts. So that's why we cannot FOMO. If you're trading leverage, again, you need to have a repeatable system in place. You need to have an edge, or you are just gambling, as people have mentioned already in this live stream. We already looked at Pangu earlier, man. And where can XRP go back to? So, guys, if you wanted the best buying opportunity possible on XRP, I would say to sit tight. I would say to be very patient. What I think is going to happen personally is I think here in the short term, over the next few weeks, maybe in October, this thing runs the highest, but it's going to be a trap. Okay. But XRP in the short term, I would look for maybe 280, 285. But from there, I can see it running the highs. But the best buying opportunity, it might sound crazy, but it's like around 170. I wouldn't be like, let's see if this happens, right? Short term up. Short term, I think it will run the highs. But I think it's going to be a big trap. Okay? I don't think it will actually break out and like run. I think it will trap everyone and then wash them all out and then run. But yeah, here in the short term for XRP, I would say be looking around, yeah, like 285, 290 in that general area. But yeah, lads, that's what's going on today. Hey, I hope you all enjoyed the live stream. If you haven't smashed the like button yet, you got to smash that like button for your boy, right? Smash up the like button. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit it right now. Turn on all bell notifications so that you don't miss any future videos, right? We're blazing the path straight up to 100K here. So join in. Smash that subscribe button. Smash it up. But guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this live stream right now. I hope you all have an amazing Sunday, right? To everyone out there in the US of A, enjoy your Sunday. To everyone who might be wrapping up Sunday evening right now, enjoy your Sunday evening and have a great week. You'll be seeing a lot of me this upcoming week, so make sure you have that bell notification turned on so you don't miss when I post a new video or when I do an impromptu live stream. I just might be doing some impromptu live streams throughout the week, so you do not want to miss them. Subscribe, turn on that bell notification. But that's all from me today, everyone. I appreciate all of you being here, right? This was a great live stream, great energy here in the live chat. Thank you for all of your support worldwide, from all around the world. Much love. Connor from Crypto Empire signing out. I'll see you in the next video. Stay up.